he's arguably not the star in town anymore, full stop, because Kylian Mbappe is.
Yeah.
You know, so not only has he kind of lost he has lost the support of the fan base, he won't, rightly so, lose the support of the dressing room, whilst you can get a good player back in, get your arm around him and say, listen, get your head down, help us out. He's not really the big star anymore, and he's been, you know, superseded by this young, brilliant French guy while he's been off doing all the nonsense.
If you're a teammate in that PSG locker room, do you welcome him back with open arms?
There are a couple of things that teammates don't do. One, you don't get involved in other players' negotiations and contract and money situation. Every player takes care of their own, and you respect that as a private matter. The other thing that you don't do is turn away from good players.
Right.
Because those guys help you win games. Now, there are a lot of things that you can put up with and a lot of things that you can sweep under the rug and there are a lot of things that you turn your back on when a guy comes in and gives you a better chance to win games that matter. And in the end, I think that's where Neymar has to come in. Play in games that matter. Have an impact in games that matter. Because if you look back over the last couple of seasons, in games that matter, Neymar either has been injured or hasn't played well. And that in itself is the one thing that I think teammates will say, okay, all right, it's great to have you back, but now we need you to ball it up. We need you to be the Neymar that we think you are and that you know you are, but you got to show it out on the field.
So the teammates are one thing. Jules, you already brought up the fans. That's quite another. The PSG Ultras were pretty hostile towards Neymar, PSG's first home game of the season. How's that situation going to unfold?
That is the big question. And now, obviously, with the international break, we won't know for a couple of weeks. And it will be interesting because it's not just this transfer saga here and the fact that he wanted to leave. A lot of players want to leave their clubs and end up staying, and things are okay with the fans. There's a few issues there that are bigger than that. The first one, the most recent one, is when he said that his biggest memory or his best memory in football was that famous night in Barcelona with Barcelona against PSG in the remontada. Obviously, when you're a PSG Ultra or you're a PSG fan and you hear your number 10 and arguably your best player saying that his best memory was to crush you 6-1 and giving you the biggest humiliation in your club's history, that doesn't go down well. The fact is, and we've talked a lot on the show about it, is that in the last 2 seasons, there's been a lot of incidents involving Neymar on the pitch, off the pitch, attitude, behaviors, and all the stuff, showboating. Anyway, that for some of the fans didn't again go down so well. The fight with Cavani, the Parc des Princes that night was in favor of Cavani, not in favor of Neymar. The name they were chanting was the one of Cavani, not the one of Neymar. And I think if you put all those things together, Neymar himself has a lot of things to get forgiven for by the PSG Ultras and the PSG fans, and he will have to work hard to rebuild that sort of relationship with the fans, and that's not going to be easy. It doesn't mean it won't happen, but it's just not going to be easy and it might take time.
Shaka, does it matter if the fans are not going to forgive him?
Yes, it does. I think as a player on the field, if your own fans are booing you and letting their feelings, their ill feelings be known, I think inevitably, at least over time, it has an impact on the player and on his psyche. The trouble is, I mean, football is a results game. You know, you put together some good performances. I'm sure the fans would appreciate that. The difference between the fans and the players, whereas the players are willing to accept a lot, as long as you continue to perform, with the fans, it's a far more fragile relationship. They're happy to see you play well, happy to see you score goals, but it only takes one indiscretion, one poor phrase to the media, and they will turn very quickly. And once the fans turn on you, and they already have, it's hard to get them back on your side, right?
Well, I have absolutely no sympathy for him whatsoever, because he has brought this all on himself. So sod him, he can get back there and he can man up, right? He can man up to that football club who paid 220 odd million for him to do a job for him. And we can all have our opinions about French football and PSG winning the title most years and blah, blah, blah. But he chose to go to French football. He chose that route to go to Paris with that money, with to be the big I am, right? He chose this road. So he's made his bed. He can lie on that. He can get back out there and he can do his job, because he's done nothing but treat the French fans, the French players and the league as some little game show that he's going to be part of until he gets this other big move. And he hasn't got it.